ang Pilipinas. Bilang Pangulo, pamumunuan ni Herbosa ang sesyon na nagsimula noong May 19 at magtatapos sa May 27. Nito lamang Martes na ipasa sa pagpupulong ang kauna-unahang pandemic agreement matapos ang 3 taong negosasyon sa napaigtingin ng 194 WHO member states. Nakapaloob sa kasunduan ang pantay na akses sa life-saving pandemic-related products at mga mekanismo para mapigilan, mapaghandaan at matugunan ang susunod na pandemya. Samantala, tinanaw ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang WHA presidency bilang pagkilala sa adhikain ng Pilipinas na isulong ang World Health. Paggunita rin ito sa kontribusyon ng Pinoy health workers o healthcare workers na matapos ang COVID-19 pandemic. Dagdag ng Pangulo, pagkakataon din ang WHA presidency para maipakita sa mundo ang pagbibigay halaga ng Pilipinas sa kalusugan. Tumutugma rin aniya ang mga polisiya ng bansa sa mga minumungkahing solusyon sa paglutas ng health issues ng mundo. Narito po ang video. Samantala, nakatakda namang dumalo si Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. sa 46th ASEAN Summit sa Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia mula May 26 hanggang 27. Para bigyan tayo ng detalye sa mga magiging aktibidad ng Pangulo roon, makakasama natin si Department of Foreign Affairs Deputy Assistant Secretary Dominic Xavier Imperial. Good morning, sir.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Claire, and magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. As mentioned by Yusek Claire, the President will be participating in the 46th ASEAN Summit, in the 2nd ASEAN GCC Summit, and in the ASEAN GCC China Summit, all happening in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia on 26 and 27 May. The President will be joined by leaders of other ASEAN member states and various dialogue partners at the invitation of Malaysian Prime Minister Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who serves as this year's ASEAN Chair under the theme Inclusivity and Sustainability. The summit is a mechanism for leaders to provide policy direction for ASEAN, build consensus of matters of mutual interest, and exchange views on key regional and international issues. The President is expected to attend 9 leaders-level engagements. 6 of these will be held on May 26th, and these are some of the meetings that will be attended by the President. So there's the plenary session and the retreat session of the 46th ASEAN Summit, and then there will be 3 leaders interface meetings with the parliamentarians, with the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, and also the representatives from ASEAN Youth. And finally, on that day, there will be a signing ceremony of the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on ASEAN 2045. And then there will be 3 more meetings that the President will be participating in the following day. And these are the 16th Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines East ASEAN Growth Area Summit, or the Bimpiaga Summit, which the President himself will be chairing. And then there's also the 2nd ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit, and finally the ASEAN GCC China Summit. Now, in all these engagements, the President will continue to uphold and promote Philippine interests in ASEAN, such as deepening security and stability in the region, economic cooperation, and broadening engagement with dialogue partners. Furthermore, the President will continue to underscore the Philippines' sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction in accordance with international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS and the 2016 Arbitral Award. Meanwhile, the leaders are also expected to discuss various global issues that impact the region and beyond. These include the situation in Myanmar, the United States' new tariffs policy, and other geopolitical and geoeconomic challenges that affect the region. To date, there are 22 outcome documents that are expected to be issued during these summits. Some will be adopted and some will be noted by the leaders. And just a few of these outcome documents include the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on the ASEAN Vision 2045, the joint statement of the Second ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council Summit, and the joint statement of the ASEAN GCC China Summit. Finally, the President will possibly have a number of bilateral meetings with his counterparts at the silence of the summits. I'll stop there and happy to answer po yung mga katanungan ninyo.
First question, Maricel Halili, TV5.
Good morning, sir. Sir, yung bilateral meetings of the President, kaninong mga heads of state ito?
We are still in the process of confirming, but we are hearing of possible bilateral engagements with Laos, with Kuwait, and also with Vietnam.
So tatlo so far.
So far.
Okay. And who among the cabinet officials will join the President in his trip to ASEAN?
Well, as of today, what we have in the delegation, of course, he will be joined by the Secretary of Foreign Affairs. And I understand since there will be a focus on the economic as well, so the Secretary of Department of Trade and Industry is also joining.
Thank you, sir.
Tristan Nadala, Newswatch.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, you've mentioned that the President is expected to raise the issues of Philippine sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction. Last ASEAN-China meeting, na-bring up din po yung para mapabilis yung Code of Conduct. So, ano pong iba or at least ipupush pa ng President when it comes to ma-finalize yung Code of Conduct ng madalian?
Yes. So just to refresh everyone, back in 2023, the foreign ministers of ASEAN, they agreed to fast-track the discussions on the COC. And this is what we are banking on during the summits. The President certainly will push for it. He will raise this with the leaders of the ASEAN. And going back to that statement, it's a reaffirmation of concluding it hopefully among ASEAN and China in 3 years since 2023. So we're looking at 2026 next year.
Ivan Maydina, GMA7.
Sir, good morning. You said that there will be at least 22 documents to be adopted, among them the Kuala Lumpur Declaration and many others. What specific documents are of specific importance to the Philippines?
One of them, of course, would be the joint statement because this will be agreed upon by the leaders. So we're looking at the joint statement of the ASEAN leaders, joint statement also with GCC and with GCC and China leaders. I cannot give you the details because these are still being negotiated, but certainly it will cover the 3 pillars in ASEAN. So we're looking at peace and security, perhaps on maritime cooperation, and then there's also the economic cooperation. We're all familiar with the usual discussions on, for example, digital transformation within ASEAN. So those things will be covered. I understand there will be something about artificial intelligence. And on the socio-cultural, the people-to-people ties, and of course, looking at climate change, that will be part of the discussions. So those are the broad topics that I can share as of the moment.
Any trade agreements that are expected to be finalized, especially in the context of the U.S. tariffs?
No trade agreements will be finalized, but certainly this will be a topic during the summit.
Thank you.
Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
Good morning po. You mentioned that one of the topics to be discussed is yung US tariffs. Ano po particular yung mga lines o kaya yung mga ipupush ng ating Pangulo with regard to this given na malaki yung nakikitang impact nito sa global economy?
So regarding the US unilateral tariffs, I'd like to go back to what the economic ministers did a few weeks back, which they issued a joint statement among ASEAN regarding the unilateral tariffs. And gusto ko lang po i-stress doon yung magiging action ng ASEAN member states, which is, of course, they are concerned. But at the same time, we will not, the region will not do a retaliatory measure. Instead, palalaganapin po natin yung maigting na more on bilateral and also multilateral engagement with the US para po maging maganda yung kalabasan ng discussions na yon. As you may recall, we have a team that went to Washington, D.C. earlier. I understand it was led by Secretary Go and also by DTI Secretary Roque. So they were there to discuss this bilaterally with the United States. But under the ASEAN framework, meron din po tayong discussions on that. The details of which though is still being discussed and negotiated, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with something in more detail after the summit. But definitely nasa ano po yan, nasa agenda ng ASEAN, and the President is also looking very much into it.
So yung mga nabanggit po nyo, yung additional engagements, yung no retaliation, more dialogue with the US, ito po ay inaasahan nating susuportahan ng Pangulo sa kanyang engagement sa ASEAN.
Yes, so meron tayong the way to see it is meron tayong ginagawang bilateral discussion with the United States, and under the ASEAN framework naman, the President is very supportive of those non-retaliatory measures. Instead, we're going to do something na it will be beneficial to all the ASEAN member states as a whole.
Salamat po.
Alvin Baltazar, Radyo Pilipinas.
Sir, good morning. Is there a chance for the President to meet with the Filipino community?
I have no information about the meeting on the Filipino community in Malaysia, but happy to share that information in case we have confirmation.
Just to give us an idea, sir, ano ba ang profile ng ating mga Filipino sa Malaysia?
So we have around 200,000 Filipino nationals in Malaysia. And varied po yung kanilang profile. So we have professionals. We also have non-professionals in the field of services, for example. And many of them also are spread out in Malaysia. So yeah, that's the what we have for the Malaysia in our Filipinos in Malaysia.
Tristan Nadalo, Newswatch.
Hi sir, ako po ulit. Sir, may reports din na lumalabas na it's expected din na mag-vote ang ASEAN for Timor-Leste's membership. May ganun po ba sir na part ng ASEAN Summit, and if yes, ano pong magiging position ng Philippine government, because last time may issue with Arnie Teves and Timor-Leste and ASEAN?
The agenda, the Timor-Leste accession to the ASEAN is certainly in the agenda. So kasama po siya sa magiging discussion ng leaders natin. And we are following actually a roadmap. There's a roadmap for Timor-Leste to be able to accede to the ASEAN. And we are following that. And as regards naman po dun sa case ni Teves, it's actually a DOJ matter. So I'm not able to comment on that, but certainly we are supportive of Timor-Leste joining the ASEAN.
Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
In a recent phone conversation with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar, nabanggit po na pag-uusapan din yung sa Myanmar, yung sa ceasefire. Ano po yung mababanggit kayo ng Pangulo with regard to the Myanmar situation, given that the topic was raised during a previous conversation with the Malaysian leader?
As you know, the Philippines will be the incoming chair of ASEAN next year. So ang napag-usapan po nila is really how Malaysia as the current chair and the Philippines as the incoming chair will be able to work together para magkaroon ng progress dun sa nangyayari sa Myanmar. So that's the general discussion, but hoping we'll be able to share more details as the two leaders meet in Malaysia.
So will he express support for the ceasefire na pinananawagan ng Malaysian government?
Yes. That's part of the agenda also of the president to call for more or to deepen yung cooperation on the ceasefire within Malaysia, Myanmar rather.
Thank you po.
Do we have more questions for Deputy Assistant Secretary Imperial? Jojo Montemayor, Malaya.
Sir, regarding lang naman po sa Myanmar, sir, ano po yung magiging position ng Philippines dun sa pagtanggap ng yung junta leader ng Myanmar sa ASEAN?
So under the ASEAN framework, of course, the way we work is non-interference and those other principles under the ASEAN and under the TAC. So kung ano man po yung magiging decision ng current na junta ngayon sa Myanmar that is acceptable to ASEAN, then we will welcome that. So that would be also the position of the President.
Sir, how about yung sa humanitarian situation po sa Myanmar?
On that, I understand there are ongoing discussions with the various groups in Myanmar. As you know, when the earthquake hit a few weeks back in Myanmar, ang talaga pong naging focus there was the humanitarian assistance for the country. So all the ASEAN member states, including the Philippines of course, na nagbigay po tayo ng tulong sa Myanmar. And yung framework po na yun ng ASEAN, that's what we utilize to be able to reach the hardest part sa loob ng Myanmar to send the assistance.
Sir, isa pang issue, sir, regarding the GCC summit tsaka yung ASEAN GCC, China ASEAN GCC. Sir, ano yung magiging policy for building relations with the GCC countries, including Russia?
Of course, the reason why we're having this summit is we really want to improve and deepen the cooperation between the two regions. So it's ASEAN and GCC. As for the ASEAN GCC China, there is this is of course an initiative of Malaysia to hold a ASEAN GCC China summit, being the chair this year. And for Malaysia, they want to, under their chairship, they want to be able to harness yung potential na cooperation, bringing together not just the GCC and ASEAN, but also China. We're looking at more, I believe, on more economic cooperation among those three.
Thank you, Deputy Assistant Secretary Imperial. Yusek Claire.
Thank you very much, Deputy Assistant Secretary Dominic.
Thank you, ma'am.
At bago po ang ating question and answer, narito po ang isang mahalagang anunsyo mula sa ating Pangulo. It's time to realign government with the people's expectations. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has called for the courtesy resignation of all cabinet secretaries in a decisive move to recalibrate his administration following the results of the recent elections. This is not business as usual, the President said. The people have spoken and they have expect results, not politics, not excuses. We hear them and we will act. The request for courtesy resignations is aimed at giving the President the elbow room to evaluate the performance of each department and determine who will continue to serve in line with his administration's recalibrated priorities. This is not about personalities, it's about performance, alignment, and urgency. Those who have delivered and continue to deliver will be recognized. But we cannot afford to be complacent. The time for comfort zones is over. This step marks a clear transition from the early phase of governance to a more focused and performance-driven approach. The President emphasized that while many have served with dedication and professionalism, the evolving needs of the country require a renewed alignment, faster execution, and a results-first mindset. Government services will remain uninterrupted during this transition, and the President reiterated that stability, continuity, and meritocracy will guide the formation of his leadership team moving forward. With this bold reset, the Marcos administration signals a new phase, sharper, faster, and fully focused on the people's most pressing needs. So, hindi na po siguro natin ikakagulat ang pagtawag po ng courtesy resignation ng Pangulo sa kanyang mga cabinet secretaries, heads of agencies with cabinet rank, other heads of agencies, and presidential advisors and assistants. Handa na po tayong tumugon sa inyong mga katanungan.
First question, Crisel Insigne, IBC 13.
Hello po, Yusek. How this courtesy call will affect the ongoing projects and programs of the administration po?
Maliwanag din po ang sinabi ng Pangulo, hindi po maaapektuhan kung ano po ang pending at existing projects habang ito ay may transition. At tuloy-tuloy lamang po